What's the cause? What is the true magnitude of this problem? And then what's the solution? We all know the cause. The speaker said this. The cause is the policies of the Biden administration. And they frankly decided on day one, January 20th, 2021, when he took the oath of office, they decided that day, no more building the wall, no more remain in Mexico, and they were going to release people who came to the country. And that became the incentive for so many millions to come to our great country.
So you're willing to take this to the mat and allow the government to shut down unless he has some new border legislation then?
I think we have to, because I think that's what the American people demand. I mean, right now, polling shows 8 out of 10 Americans know that this is a crisis on our southern border. So we've got to deal with that. That's, again, why Speaker Johnson took the largest delegation ever to the border this past week. We saw firsthand how serious it was.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And Eagle Pass, Texas has in recent months become the epicenter of the immigration debate as thousands of migrants have attempted to cross the Rio Grande into that border city. Last month, Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 4 into law, which would make it a state crime to cross the Texas-Mexican border between ports of entry. This allows Texas police to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally and requires state judges to order migrants returned to Mexico if they're convicted.
The solution is to go back to the policies that worked. The solution is our legislation. Or the solution is simply, I think, one sentence. No money can be used to process or release into the country any new migrants. To just say suspend it now, which the president can do. But if he won't do it, we should put that one sentence in must-pass legislation.
It's ironic that Republican representatives believe in empowering the states when it comes to fear-based legislation aimed at immigrants, but not when a state like Colorado removes Donald Trump from the ballot based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3 of the Constitution. The GOP have embraced a radical, hate-filled policy that has destroyed countless lives and resulted in death. This includes a 3-year-old boy who died crossing the Rio Grande with his family. He and many others like him were innocents, caught in the crossfire of a radical, deranged governor and legislature. Now Texas wants to charge immigrants with misdemeanors for illegally crossing and potentially jail repeat offenders up to 5 years. On whose dime? Republican extremists know that they have blood on their hands, yet they continue to perpetuate the lie that Joe Biden and Democrats are to blame for violent mobs of immigrants flowing through the border unchecked. If Republican legislators were so determined to fend off these caravans of migrants that they are always bringing up in an election year, they wouldn't be threatening to shut down the government. Someone needs to remind Jim Jordan that government workers, the military, and civilians working for the government are not pawns to use for their political agendas. Are the same Border Patrol agents that are overwhelmed by the reported masses of immigrants flooding across the border supposed to get up and go to work knowing that they won't be getting a paycheck? How are ordinary American lives going to be affected? The truth is that Jim Jordan and other extremist Republicans like Stephen Miller don't care about those issues. They are wealthy enough where a delayed paycheck wouldn't bother them. It's an absolute shame that these clowns are allowed to make decisions that hurt other people while pretending to represent family values and pro-life platforms. Jim Jordan, Stephen Miller, and the Republican Party want to convince their undereducated base that people are coming here to steal all the jobs that they're too lazy to do. Lyndon B. Johnson said that if you can convince the lowest white man that he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. This is an old tactic that the GOP have perfected. This time the hatred is directed towards immigrants, the LGBTQ community, and whoever stands in the way of the radical MAGA agenda. The GOP are not interested in working for the American people. Mike Johnson's trip to the border was a publicity stunt to drum up support for a hate-filled agenda. If the GOP is serious about fixing the border, their votes in Congress would reflect it, but they don't. What a bunch of lying hypocrites. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.